All right now. Welcome back, y'all. It's DNA. We back one more time. You know, we like it on Saturday, so that's how we doing this here. First, you hear that background music. I gotta give a shout out to two of my homies from New York, Manny, Manriel, Sean, aka Bigger. They hit me up with some beats, and I figured we'd give it a shot. You know, they're trying to help a brother out and a sister as well. You know, trying to get this thing off the ground. So you'll be hearing background music, you know, a little something like that. We're trying to spice it up for y'all. You know, make sure we give y'all something. You know, because we got a few things we talking about and we touching on, and whoa, excuse me, and shout out to my neighbor Clay. I told him I'd holler at him, so there you go. We will be continuing this particular is what makes sex a sin conversation that we started on the last one. What you think makes it a sin?
When you go way back, like caveman days, you know, men dominated everything, you know, they were over everything. So when the man wanted to have sex, that was the only time you should have sex. It wasn't, you know, the woman didn't come on to the man and, you know, and it, in their little cave or whatever, she may have come on in a subtle way, but it may have been so subtle that he might not even got it, but, you know, something happened within him and he's like, oh, okay, well, snatch her and get her and it's done. To me, this is just to me, I think sex is a sin, can be made into a sin if it's done wrong. Like, it's like, well, done wrong.
Yeah.
Because no, it's taken. You know, when sex is taken, that's the sin to me. Because if it's two consenting adults and you're being pleasured from each other, there shouldn't be a sin there. You're making it seem as though sex itself is the sin, and sex couldn't be a sin if we were supposed to always, you know, repopulate the earth with. And the only way you can do this is to have sex. Unless you start making test tube babies and things like that. We don't even want to get into that. As far as sex itself, there's nothing wrong with sex itself. I think that you meet the right person and y'all decide to have sex, it should be a beautiful thing. Now you have sex with this person and you was laying there and you're like, okay, so I thought this was going to be great. Can that be your sin? I just committed sin and for no reason. I think it's the way you look at it. I really do. I think it's the way that you feel, the way that you look at it. Because I don't think sex is a sin. I think the act itself can be a sin. When you rape somebody, that's still sex, but it's a sin. That's the sin of it. You're taking something from somebody that they didn't give you. I think that's a sin. Which is why they say, you know, you steal, that's a sin. You stealing sex from somebody, that's a sin. I think that should be made into a sin. I think the word sin can be used, it's a 3-letter word that's very powerful. And you throwing it on everything, you're wrong. I think that's wrong. So when you say so sex is to have sex is a sin, no, I think to have sex the wrong way is a sin. And I don't mean anal, and I don't mean blowjobs, and I don't mean, you know, I mean when you take it from somebody that didn't want to give it to you, I think that's the sin. Even if you're married, even if you're in a relationship for a long time, the moment you take it, you have committed a sin. And I think that's just my take on it. I don't know how he feels on the man's side, but as a woman, somebody taking it from me, that's a sin.
Well, from a man's perspective, I can say very, very rarely, far and few between, do you ever hear instances where a man is, you know, rape is a sin, of course, you know, where a man is raped. All right. For one, it's hard to rape the willing, and you know, you're not really going to hear that a lot, you know, from men, you know, talking about men because for one, it would make a man be viewed as weak. You know, you let her take it from you and you crying about it, you know, that kind of thing. What the whole sin thing is again, that's something that was labeled biblically, from my understanding, and I can't necessarily say, you know, sex out of wedlock is a sin. Well, if that's the case, then, you know, I'm supposed to be going to hell, you know, because I had sex, you know, before I got married. You know, I've been divorced and had sex. You know, I'm currently not married now and in a relationship and we have sex. You know, does that mean I'm bound for damnation? You know, to chime in on what you said, you know, if it's two consenting adults, if it's not taken and it is given, and whether it's with somebody that's married or not, you know, if it's with somebody that's married, then the sin would be adultery,
Right.
you know, according to the Bible. But in today's society, we have open relationships. We got swingers. You know, now, are swingers sinners? You know, is it a sin to be in a relationship, you know, whether you're married, you know, or let, for argument's sake, let's say married, okay? You're married, you know, and you and your wife are swingers, which means y'all group together with other people and engage in various sexual acts, you know, couple swapping, group orgies, what have you, you know. Then you have a couple that's married, and each one of them are having extramarital affairs, but they're trying to keep it a secret. Which sin, if any, is bigger? You know, because part of that sin would be, I would imagine, you know, trying to do it and keep it on the low, keep it under wraps. You know, I'm cheating on my husband, I'm cheating on my wife. You know, then that's a sin because you engage in extramarital affairs without the knowledge of your spouse. Whereas, if you're a swinger, or if you're in an open relationship, and you tell your wife, you know, oh, well, tonight we're gonna go to this club, we're gonna go to this party, we're gonna go to this place or whatever, blah, 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 you know, and y'all already talked about it, she knows what it's about, you know what it's about, and it's something that y'all both looking forward to, you know, and then they go out and they engage in, they swinger society, or they open marriage or open relationship type, you know, they do that, and then they come home to each other, you know, they go there together and they leave together, you know, and they go home and they shower and change and they do what they do and then they engage. Is that a sin? You know, I mean, which some might argue that they both are sin. Yeah. Some might argue, yeah, some might argue that, you know, what I do within the confines of my relationship, you know, if it's okay with you, or if it's okay with my spouse, then it's none of your business. You understand? So where do we gauge that as that's a sin? You know, that's the sin. You know, why is it a sin? Because the Bible says so. Why? Because that's not the way you're supposed to live. Who said that?
Right.
You understand? That's a question that can continuously be asked. You know, because in order for you to break the rules, there has to be a rule maker, or there can't be a rule breaker.
Right.
And who makes the rules? You
I
know?
don't think there's a sin bigger than another sin. I think it's either sin or it's not sin. So whether you know about it or not know about it, is it a sin? I don't think it's a sin at all. I think the only way it could be a sin is if it is hurting someone. Now you figure, well, if he don't know she's cheating and he finds out and it hurts him, then that's the sin. That could be the sin. Sorry, for some reason my eyelashes enjoy talking to my eyes. Maybe that's the sin that they talk about, you know. That's why I said I think if it's hurting someone, that's the sin. But to have sex is not the sin. When she was having sex with the other guy, knowing her husband was at home, no one was getting hurt.
She liked it.
She
had
like
to.
it.
She had to. Or she wouldn't have did it.
No one was getting hurt at that time, so there was no sin. But the moment that the husband found out, however he found out, he was hurt.
Or vice versa.
Yeah,
You
vice
know,
versa.
The woman was at work and the husband was cheating.
Right. Doesn't
You know.
matter who the person is in the relationship that stepped out, is hurting the other person. That's the sin.
Okay.
So I think that's the sin.
Okay,
The
so-
pain.
So, to play the devil's advocate, if it's consensual and, you know, the spouse has full knowledge of this, and like I said, if that's the kind of relationship they got, if they got a relationship where they feel like, you know, some people like to have date nights or,
Right.
you know, like to have getaways and things like that, you know, to help keep the vibrancy in the marriage. You know, other people might be into, you know, an analogy I used earlier. You might like chicken, okay? And if you eat chicken all the time and all you know is chicken, you know, then one day you see a swan, you know, and you go, man, what's that? You know, and you go home and you tell your chicken, look, I've seen a swan. I think I want to try some of that swan, you know. And your chicken say, well, I want to try some of that swan. You know. And your chicken might be, well, you know, did you see 2 swans? You know, one of each. Like, yeah, I seen a swan couple, you know. Maybe we should invite them over, you know. For I don't know what you get when you mix a chicken with a swan. You know, I don't know what you get, you know. But I'm pretty damn sure it's greasy. You know. But I mean, if it's consensual and it's okay, will that still make it a sin? And if it's a sin, who's to say what's the sin and what's not? You know, who's to say? Who's the one that came up with that rule? Who's the one that came up with that idea? I'm not sure. You know, if you got the answer, please leave a comment. You know, educate me on something. You know, I got no issue with being corrected.
Right.
You know, this is just, you know, opinions and conversations that we have, and you know, we bring these out and we put them up on YouTube. And I mean, if you like them, you like them. If you don't, you don't. You know, but everybody has an opinion.
Right.
This is just mine.
No.
You know, so I mean, if you can enlighten me and or us or many others, you know, please don't hesitate. subscribe, post a comment. You know, we'll get back at you. We will get back at you. You know, let us know something. Tell us how you feel. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you see. We won't know unless you tell us. A lot of possibilities to this thing. A lot of different ways this can go. You know, is the sin the fact that you're doing something and you enjoying it? You know, because I tell my kids all the time, have a good time but don't have fun. You know, because when I was young and I was having fun, I was doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing. But when I was having a good time, it was okay. You know, so, you know, maybe I'm looking at fun like some people look at sin.
Right.
You know, I don't know.
And the moment you say don't, they do.
They do. The minute you say stop, they want to go. The minute you say put that down, they can't wait to pick it up. You know, Garden of Eden. Mhm. You can have everything you see, just don't mess with that tree over there in the corner. Couldn't wait to get to it. You know, I don't know. We flawed. We got issues. You know, but we all we got. We stuck here together. Let us know something. Again, that's Manny and Sean Beat you here in the background. They're hooking us up. Appreciate it. Shout out to them cats. Everybody up in NY. She from Chi-Town. Y'all know how it go. Till then, DNA. We signing off.